Cool. So we will be solving like 1 or 2 questions with each one of you. And I will be just taking like a mental note of where we are on average, because I know that some of you may be a bit more on the advanced side, but I want to see the average. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's say you have an array of daily expenses of a customer, right? From your store. So you have an array of numbers that represent expenses that your customer, so basically the purchases that your customer made this week. So I want you to get the total, so using for loop, get the total of those expenses. Okay, so you have an array of numbers that represent daily expenses of your customer. Now I want you to create a function that will take that array as a parameter and give us the total of your expenses.
So first I have to create the array, right?
If you want, I can just send it to you. 1 second. So I'll just send it to you so you don't have to come up with something. Where is the chat? Here. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, 1 second. This one, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This one, right? Okay.
So this is just an example. Of course, it can be a different array, but so now we want to create a function that will give us the total of these expenses. And let's use for loop.
And give this array as an parameter, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, I'm very bad at giving name.
So when you're thinking of like what should be the name of the function, first, always try to start with a verb. So what is this function doing? It's calculating, right? So you can say calculate.
To calculate
total expenses or something. Or get total expenses, up to you.
Like get total, you said
Expenses. And let's not forget that we are using camel case. Good. Okay, so before you continue, Aziza, I want you to revisit your syntax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have to write. So can you repeat me, please? What do you want that I...
So I just want a total number of expenditures. So like,
okay,
how much did this user spend in your store this week?
Okay, I understand. Sorry, the New York. The police always.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
I will retire soon because I think my brain will because it's never gonna happen in like this in Europe, but here is all the time. So I'm sorry for that, you know.
Oh no, I didn't hear any background noise, so don't worry.
Okay. Then okay, index, then Okay, so now we are just gonna find the plus the numbers. I can do like here one variable, right?
Of course, but think of where you want to create this variable.
Variable I can create outside the function. But it can also inside, but that's the problem. But if it was an array, I would create the outside the array. But since I'm also writing the function,
So
it's also gonna work inside the function. That's why I have to write the variable here, right?
okay, I need you to repeat the question. So what is your struggle? Like, so what are like the advantages and disadvantages of creating this variable inside or outside the function?
Yeah, like if you said, okay, if I didn't write like Asel, if I didn't write a function, for example, and if you just say find it from expenses and just write the for loop, I know where I have to write the variable. But since it's the function, so I'm a little bit confused.
So here's the thing. In real life, you would have to write an actual function because in real code, you cannot just use for loop, in the code base, right? So let's say you have a file that is dedicated to calculating everything that is related to like specific user expenses, right? So in real life, you would have to create a function and you would have to decide whether this variable is supposed to be inside or outside the function, right? So in this case, I think it makes sense to store this variable inside the function. Why? Because let's say you have hundreds of users and each user has its own array of expenses, right? So you want the total to be sort of like protected by the function scope. Okay, so you want your total to be inside the function because everything that is concerned to like executing this function. So for example, the for loop, the total number should be sort of protected by the scope of this function. Okay, so let's create a variable that will store your total inside this function. Good. So let's just name it a total. I think that will communicate the purpose of this variable really well. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I want you to revisit your for loop and see if there is anything that you want to fix. Before you start solving
index
it.
is always smaller than expenses length. And then it is index is 0. So expenses length, and I don't know what's the wrong here. This one I was going to write, but I don't see any expenses.
So right now you see on line 67, your parameter is gray, right? What does it tell you?
This is the gray, and this one is the parameter.
Yeah, so you see that it's grayish, right? It's not highlighted. So what does it tell you? JavaScript is trying to tell you something.
Okay. JavaScript is trying to tell that. Okay, this is expenses. But here I'm a little bit confused. Like expenses, actually, we have to write the length of the array here. Here, maybe. Expand. 1 second. Right. Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So
my ways. Okay. Expenses.
for loop has its own syntax, right? First, you write the for part, And then it also needs curly braces, remember?
Yeah, for braces. And yeah, so now I'm gonna do like expenses. Length. Just like, and then it is bigger than.
So coming back to your question earlier, Aziza, about visualizing this kind of feature, right?
Yeah.
Like, why do we write this kind of function? So let's say you are working on like a back office tool, and you have a table of all the users, right? And inside the table, you have a cell that is supposed to show the total of each user's expenditures. So in order to visualize this total number, you would still have to write this function. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I have Asel, I have like one more like if you ask me how now the for loop works, so when I visualize, I know that now is my for loop is running, so 0, this one is 0, 1, 2, 3, so it's running, so when I like say expensive length is smaller than bigger than 0, first the for loop is gonna replace that a 0 with 45 and 99, right? And then the for loop start to going just plus, 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 and then I will get the result.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I understand, as he said, I understand, but I always get confused, like.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not gonna work because, for example, your first index 0, index
Yeah,
0, 45. It's bigger than 27. And if you want to put the condition like the total is bigger than index 0 is bigger than the index 1, it's not supposed to work because, for example, index 1 is less than 45.
no,
In the first condition, yes, it's gonna work because the total is equals to 0, and of course the 0 is less than 45. But when then 0 is gonna change to the 45, and if you put again this condition like the 45 is more than 27, it's gonna be false.
let me try now. I like is oh, 1 second.
So Aziza, take your time and try to like build the logic here. However, you think that it should work, and then we can.
I thought like this and total the slide this. Like I know this one was increment, right? Like this. But it's
So
not mathematical thing, right? It's not mathematical, but it's just increment.
So, okay, let's digest it one by one. Let me get the control of your screen.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Okay, I have the control. So I see that you guys have like a general idea of how things supposed to work. However, when it comes to implementation, that's where you may face some issues. And this is normal because this is your like literally second week of JavaScript. First of all, let's recap how for loop works, okay? So when we write the for loop syntax, what exactly we're trying to tell JavaScript to do? We are telling, so in this case, we are only saying that this loop, and loop in Russian is цикль, if it's helping anyone. So this loop is going to run how many times in this case? It will start at index 0.
Yeah, so
At 0, right? How many times is this loop going to run?
and you own the length. So till end, like till 30 and 50.
Yeah.
And
So in
stops there,
1,
right?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, right? It's going to run 7 times. And what's the significance of index plus plus? What does it mean? What does plus plus mean?
Plus plus means increasement, like
Plus one.
Yeah. So plus plus means literally index is equal to index plus 1. So what's happening is we are starting at index 0, right? Which is the first element here. Whatever happens here is going to be inside this curly braces, right? So we are saying basically, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it's going to happen 7 times, right? So what were you trying to achieve with this line?
So first, then expenses, as I said, first for loop is gonna check if it's 0, and then they will check is 45.99 is if it is bigger, it's smaller, and then just replace this one, and then from 45.99 and start to just increase. I mean, just plus plus, so it's gonna increase, and then we will get a total value.
First of all, what's the value of expenses.length, Aziza?
It is not the value, but it's just the length of the inside the array. How many items is there?
No, right. So what's the value?
Value is there right now is 7.
7, exactly. So what you're saying here is 7 should be bigger than total.
Okay, maybe
What's the value?
just like smaller than total, right?
So what's the value of total right now?
0.
0, right? So what you're saying is the number of items inside this array should be bigger than the total, which is 0.
Okay.
Does that help to solve the current task that we have right now? Does that help us in any way?
No, because now, because we are not just, yeah, you're right. Because I know just if I want to find like the smallest number, then we can use this one. Then I understood. But for length, you're gonna just do an increment. So then we are just gonna have like total and plus. Total plus and the expensive length, right?
So total plus expenses dot length.
Yeah, and you can just right away assign that one variable like total equal to total plus expensive length, and then we will get the console log the total, right?
So total plus equals.
No, yeah, the call short.
Okay. All right. So what do you think will be the result of this?
Yeah, it should be like the result of, because it's 0 and total, yes, and the 20 like mathematical increment, not just by the 1, 2, 3, but mathematical.
Okay, so let's forget about for loop for 1 minute. And if you were solving this just mathematically using like simple algebra, how would you solve it?
Plus and plus.
Exactly, right? You would do 45.99 plus 27.50 plus 89 blah 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 plus 120 plus 15 plus 55, etc. Right? So it means that you would say total, which is 0, right? Plus 45 plus 27, etc. Right?
Yeah.
Is this what we are doing here?
And I just like expenses. Yeah, if like almost like a total, like total equal total plus length, and then.
So again, what's the value of expenses that length? It has right now it has specific value.
So the specific, it is now 45.
Expenses that length?
No, the expensive length is now 7. And if you put, it's total, so it's, we just reassign them.
So, okay, so I have a question for Janar. Janar, what will be the output of this function?
Total, it will be the length 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It will be 7, right?
Just 7?
Yeah, because it will it will be
It's gonna
6.
be like 1 plus 2, 3 plus 3, then 6 plus 4. I guess
It's just kind of like the number of the,
then 10 plus 5, 15 plus 6, and 16 plus 7.
So 23? Is that what you're saying?
Wait, I need to calculate. What is
Okay.
49. 49.
it's like the process is going like 0 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 3 plus 4, 7 plus 5, and etc.
but
Okay.
I,
So
I understood. So
not what you think.
I think same as Janar, it will give us number 7.
7, okay.
Asel, I got it because we are just giving the length. So first, what we have to do is that I have to assign the total to length of the length of the expenses, and then I will get the total, and then plus. I mean, then I have to do mathematical thing. Then it will be correct.
Okay,
Answer is 8.
let's get to the bottom of this one. Yes, Maksat?
It's 28 supposed to be.
28. Okay.
But we can take like 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Sultan, I want to hear from you.
We just return. We didn't give it for the console log. If we give for the console log, it gives 49.
49.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't say 7.
David, you also want to join the 7 club?
It will just add 0 to the expenses length, which is
Yeah.
so it should be 7, I think.
Okay. Let's
There's
check.
no iteration going on.
Oh, wait, why is it caps lock? 1 second.
It's 23.
Now I'm typing in Russian. 1 second. Let me fix my keyboard.
Oh, it's not 28, sorry. I was wrong.
So what's your output then?
1 second. Give me 1 second.
I mean, even looking at your answers, I can see that you guys are still struggling.
No, it's about the calculation. I'm calculating with the Google Chrome now. Wait.
So, I mean, calculation here is pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's 49. So why is it 49? If you understand for loop, the calculation here is going to be pretty simple. Why is it 49? I mean, 7, I understand, right? I understand how you can come up with this answer because there is logic. So it's like, it's an educated guess, right? So I want to hear from Sultan. Why did you think it would be 49?
Oh, I got you now. Expenses length is number 7. Yeah, now I got it.
I mean, it's written here.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I was thinking like I just started the counting the indexes with each other, but the expenses not length. Sorry, I got you.
Why would you count indexes? It literally says expenses that length here.
Yeah, the beginning is supposed to be 7. Now I got it.
So why is it 49?
Because it's always repeating. For example, for the first loop, the expenses dot leg is gonna our total gonna be equal to 7, and the next loop is gonna be 7 plus 7.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
next loop again the 14 plus 7, and etc. Like
Yeah, so it's
So
gonna
there will
add
be 7 iterations, and each time it will be returning like 7, and the total would be
exactly.
adding 7 each. Okay.
7
Okay.
7 multiplied by 7 is gonna be 49.
Cool. Okay. So what if it was just like that? Would it make any difference?
No, it's gonna be over 7.
So you think that if I change the code to just total plus this, it
If
will
you do,
still
for
be
example, total equals to total plus expenses, it's gonna work now. Total equals to total plus expense that's length, it's gonna be 49.
I think it will be 0 because we assigned it at the very top that total is equal to 0, but in the solution is just adding but not reassigning total to a
Yes.
value. So I think it should return 0.
Okay, so we have one option here, 0. Maksat, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Davut?
Yeah, let it be 0.
We have a 0 club here.
I know it's not gonna change the let number, right? Let total equals 0 is in the second loop, it's still gonna stay 0 because we didn't give it.
There's no equal sign, yeah.
Yes, there's no equal sign.
No reassigning.
Okay. Gulnur?
I don't know. I will go 7.
7. Okay. Sultan?
0.
0. Aziza, what do you think?
Process is 0 will be.
0. Okay. So why is it 0 again? Guys, let's reiterate.
Yeah,
Because
Asel, I forgot here. Actually, what I'm doing is now it's gonna total plus expenses index length, and then I will get the answer.
Okay. Expenses. Go ahead.
Index.
Yeah, go ahead. You have the control now.
Like I forgot, like yeah, like this.
Yeah. And
length, right?
no, you don't need.
Don't do it.
So
Go ahead.
You don't need like
let's explore this option
It's
first.
typo as well. It's typo as
So
well.
what will be the output now if it will be index that length?
It's typo. It's not gonna work. Change the typo. Yeah.
You have a typo in length. GTH. It's GTH.
You're saying length, right?
Yeah, GTH, length.
Like this. No.
Vice versa. GTH.
look at the top one.
Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's run it.
0.
0, yes.
So why is it 0, Aziza?
Because it is still index of it's the 0.
The equal sign is supposed to be plus equal.
Because we are not reassigning the value of total. We're just adding, but we're not saving it, right? So in order for us to save it, we need to do plus.
Yeah, like actually like this, right? Total like this, right?
You can do that, or you can just do total plus equals. Then it will be the same as what you just wrote.
Yeah, like this, yeah.
But it was correct. Good
Yeah.
job.
But I used to write like that, and then I will get fun. Yes. None. Not a
Mhm.
number.
Take the link from the
Okay, you don't need the length. Just expenses.
So what's the issue right now? I want to hear from Sultan. What's the issue with our current solution?
In this case, we don't need lengths, dot lengths.
Yeah,
I know.
this one we don't need to make like right.
So why don't we need length?
Oh my God.
Because we don't, I can say.
So if we are saying expenses index, so what's the value of expenses index? Aziza?
Values index right now is 0. The first one is 0. No, there's no value there. I mean, total is 0. And what they are saying that you just have to reassign inside the first loop 45.99 and just plus, and then it's gonna increase. That's why we are, yeah.
So on each iteration of this for loop, what will be the value of expenses at given index? How many iterations does this for loop have? How many times is it going to iterate?
Just once.
Janar?
7.
7 times. This for loop has 7 iterations. Why? Because that's what we told this for loop to do, right? It will start at 0, it will stop at 7. So therefore, this for loop has total of 7 iterations. On the first iteration, what will be the value of index and the value of expenses at the given index on the first iteration? Dovud?
what's the gonna be value of the first index?
Yeah, on the first iteration of this for loop, what will be the value of index and what will be the value of expenses index?
So the index gonna be the 0 one, but the expense so it's 45.99. So
Exactly.
So if you 0 plus 45.99 is 45.99. Yeah.
Yeah. But 0 that we are saying right now is the index. It's not the total of 0, right? It's the index.
Oh, there's total first. No, total is 0. Yeah, if you think like logically, total is 0, and when you put like a 0 plus 45.099, it will be 45.99.
Yes, after the first iteration, exactly.
And then
So
after it's going to
on the first iteration, index is 0, and expenses at index 0 will be 45.99, right?
Yeah.
How about the second iteration, Aziza? What will be the value of index and what will be the value of expenses index?
Which one?
Second iteration.
It will be 1.
1. And expenses.
And then
at
expenses will be 45.99.
oh,
No, 29.99. The result is 25.99 plus 27.50.
Yeah, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking what will be the value of expenses at index 1.
One would the first value this 27.50.
Exactly. So what will be the total of the value of total after the second iteration?
Okay. I'm not good in mathematics, but
So basically 45.99 plus whatever it is, plus 2750, right?
72, it was 72, and then 72 plus 89.99.
Okay, so you guys get the logic now, right?
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen is this for loop is going to iterate exactly 7 times in this case, right? And it on each iteration, it will have a new value of total, and it will keep moving from one value inside this array to another, and it will keep adding this value to the new value of total. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Good.
I have one more question. Can we just do, this is just increment like plus, right? So we got the total amount. But what's gonna be if you're gonna do multiply? Because 0 cannot be multiplied to 0. I mean, the answer always will be 0 there.
Input
Yeah.
1.
So then you would have to change the value of total to 1, because if you multiply 0 by any number, it will always give you 0. And here you would have to change by a multiplication sign. And then it will give you that result of like multiplication. There you go. Okay, good, very nice. Good job, guys. So now I want you, Aziza, to rewrite this function with for off loop. So same function, exactly same functionality, but with for off loop.
I had it, okay, for loop, for off, right?
But rewrite the whole function though. You can copy paste it as long as you rewrite the for loop part. So now you can get rid of the for loop. You can keep the total, we still need it. Now let's use for off loop and see the difference.
Is correct?
Okay, so let's console log index and see. Let's just console log index for now. And let's move line 76 to line 86.
76 to...
And comment out your initial function so we don't get two functions with the same name. Cool, good. So what do you think is happening here? We are console logging index, but it's not the index that we're getting, right?
Yeah, we get just items.
Yeah, we get elements of this array, right? So when you're using for off loop, there is no index, there is element. So let element of expenses. So instead of index, you need to write element or just L, EL.
I'll give the different name. So, okay, I wrote any name here, like.
Yeah, it can be anything, but it has a meaning.
What I will have to give, like, let.
I would just say element because it's clear that it's an element of an expenses array. Okay, so now that you know that this is an element, right? So each element is each number inside your expenses array. How would you get the total?
Total, it will be exactly the same as here.
Okay.
Total. Will be like total plus or like this. Oh no, it's an opposite, right? Like This is index, where's like element? Yeah.
Take your time. There's no rush.
Yeah, and then I have to write expenses element. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this. Element. And return the and here. What do you think, guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want everyone to contribute now and see if there's anything that we can fix.
None, not an hour.
So it's
Mhm.
she wrote it like an object, put it in a bracket, the element. It's a rate expenses, not the brackets supposed to be in brackets. Element.
We can try.
Don't we write it like when it's object?
Are we
Okay.
dealing with the object right now?
Yeah, like this element, it would be inside the array, right? Like this.
Yes.
Okay, I want to hear from Janar. Janar, is this how you would want to write it?
I would write it total plus equal sign and element.
Mm-hmm. So why just element and not the expenses element?
Because Asel, you confused me. When I wrote the element, you said don't rush.
Because we already know that we are iterating through the elements of expenses. So to the total, we'll be just adding the element.
Mm-hmm. Right. So when we were console logging the element, we got the numbers inside the array, right? So we just need to get those elements, and we don't need to refer to expenses array anymore because we are already getting elements there.
And it's supposed to be the plus equal, not the
Yeah.
Asel, when I wrote the expenses, you said don't rush, you know? Like plus expense element I wrote. The same.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
And
here already ready-made here, right? In for of
So the Asel, we can't write it with expenses in a break element.
no, we can't, because then if we are doing that, it means that we're trying to get expenses array, right?
Mhm.
And the value of element will be so literally 49, 45, 45.99. Means that that's what you're trying to get.
Oh, I got it.
Make sense? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. That's why we don't need to refer to expenses array anymore, because that's the whole difference between for off loop and for loop. In for off loop, we get access to the element itself, and we don't need indexes, right? That's why we can refer to like element directly. And in for loop, we can only reach to the element using the index. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Good. And when you're like thinking, should I use for loop? Should I use for off loop? I guess the deciding factor here is whether or not you need the index. If you need the index for some reason, because sometimes you need indexes to manipulate the array, right? So in this case, it's better to use regular for loop. If you don't need the index, if it's not critical for your solution, then you can just use for off loop, because it's shorter and like it's very precise, so whenever you don't need index, when it's not critical to your solution, just go with for off loop. Okay.
I have
But yes, go ahead.
The total 0, not 1, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So is it, I always ask this question, is it something what we can do with the for in or for off, but we can do with the like a regular for loop?
Come again? Is there something that we can do with for in, for off that we cannot do with regular for loop?
Yes.
So for in loop is used in order to loop inside the object. So
Yeah, I understand it, but like I just want to know like something special, like why I need to use the for in or for off, like, but not using the.
No, well, for in loop is used to loop through objects because you cannot use regular for loop on an object unless you extract the keys and values first. So for in loop is used in order to loop through object properties.
Is it like the I'm cutting for myself the extra thing is like a how to say the if else and switch? Why we like if we have a if else, why we need the switch? Like we can do both, but why I should like know the extra?
Yeah,
We can
it makes sense. That's a good question. So I think you still need to know both. Why? Because switch cases are a lot more readable than a bunch of if-else statements. So there is like a big chance that you may have 10, 15 if-else statements in your function. So it doesn't make your code readable, right? So if you have just 3 conditions, so you can use if-else statement because it's easy to understand. However, if you are exceeding those 3 conditions, you should use switch cases because it's more readable. Plus, later on, when you guys will be learning about time complexity means how much time an algorithm takes to be executed. You will learn that switch cases are faster than if-else statements. But that's a topic for another discussion. But yeah, it's still important to know both. However, in the initial stages of your learning process, if you're struggling with a whole bunch of different loops, right? If you learn for loop properly, really understand how it works, then you will understand other loops in no time. So basically the difference will be just the syntax.
Yeah, the syntax is the problem to remember all of that.
Yeah. So if you just learn for loop, and if you're very, confident in for loop, then other loops will not be an issue. So for example, if you ask me now to write a do while loop, probably I would struggle as well. But the struggle is only with the syntax part, not the logic part, So if you are struggling with a bunch of different loops, just stick with for loop. If you understand for loop, you will understand any other loop.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Good. All right. Aziza, how are you feeling?
Sorry.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, that's fine.
Good. Okay. So thank you so much for helping us through this first part of our class. You did great. Good job. My suggestion would be to still try and spend some time on those algorithm questions because behind every, button, every, whatever you see, like whatever interaction you see on the UI, there will be still some kind of function. So there is no avoiding, skipping this part is just practically impossible. So I would still suggest, if you have time, to, you know, to devote it to solving those algorithm questions in the portal. Okay. All right. Are you guys ready for your break?
Aselia, before we go on the break, with this example that we just talked about, the expenses, can you please show us how to solve it with reduce method?
Sure. So if you guys are not familiar with your reduce, don't worry. Let's say get total. Right, so we're still getting an array. Array that reduce. So in reduce, reduce as a higher order function expects two parameters. First parameter is the callback function. Second parameter is the accumulator, initial value for the accumulator. So think of this initial value of accumulator as this total, right? So the initial value of total is 0, therefore the initial value for the accumulator should also be 0. Okay? So then we have accumulator and element. So then we do return accumulator plus equal element, something like this. So if we do get total with expenses array. Okay, let's comment this out.
Console looking for it.
Oh, thank you. There you go.
You put the array duck reduce is the second return. It doesn't go by default. You put the second return there. Can we?
You mean if I remove
Yes.
the return statement? So in that case, it will be undefined because reduce doesn't know, like the callback inside reduce doesn't know what it should return unless you explicitly tell what it should return.
I thought it's gonna go by.
Yeah, that's the trick with, I get confused with it all the time, so don't worry about it. Whenever you're dealing with reduce, you know, this returns, well, unless it's a one-liner, right? Which is not in our case. So you need to explicitly return something because the way it works is on each iteration, because behind reduce, there is also some kind of loop, right? So on each iteration, it will call this callback function, right? And if this callback function doesn't have anything to return, it will return undefined, right? So like on each iteration, there will be an undefined return, and therefore we have the undefined result here.
And I'm still have a question with the syntax. So why when you like put the arrow like in reduce, why you put the break like that? It's a curly breaks, right? This whole.
I mean, yeah, you can totally, I guess, live without it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we still need the
Like, you want
return.
it to be one-liner?
That's how I like when I've been like, you know, the documentation. I never see like you put like here. That's why I have questions.
Oh, it's pretty common because you don't always.
Yes, now I got it. Okay.
Yeah, if it's a one-liner, JavaScript will, behind the scenes, when it's processing the code, it will insert a return statement before this whole thing, right? But if you're going to like the next line, then of course you need a return statement and you need to return something explicitly, otherwise it will be undefined.
So now we don't need a return here.
Yeah, in this case, because JavaScript will insert a return statement before this expression. Yeah, so it will take this expression as a return statement.
And the ACC and L, those are not keywords, so we can use whatever we want, right?
Yeah, it can be, for example, total and number.
Yeah.
Number. So then here it would be total and a number. Oh, that's not a problem. Oh, but I like, to be honest, I prefer to keep them as accumulator and element only because reduce can be confusing, and it's easier for me to keep it in you know, the logic straight with just accumulator and element. But yeah, it can be anything as long as you don't confuse them.
Yeah.
I have a question, Asel. Reduce is for what we have to use for reduce the inside the expenses, like inside the array.
So think of the reduce method as transformer of an array. So in this case, we're sort of transforming array into one number, right? We're getting the total of all the numbers. So whenever you need to get like a total of, I don't know, some kind of numbers inside array, or you need to transform this array into an object with, I don't know, some like different properties, you know. So in this case, you can use reduce because it's very helpful whenever you need to manipulate an array to get some kind of like final, you know, one result. So like a sum of array numbers, or I don't know, like total of all the names, I don't know, like some kind of unified string of all the names of your customers, you know? So like it's really good at manipulating array into, you know, and converting it into some kind of other data type. Does it make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, but don't worry about reduce. We have a whole section about higher order methods. And I think we will start that in about 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. So that's when we will learn all the higher order functions. And we will spend quite a lot of time with those. I think what's more important for you guys is to focus on good old for loop, because if you understand for loop, you will understand any kind of higher order function, because behind any higher order function, even behind reduce, there is a simple for loop.
Okay.
Okay. So the building block of reduce is still a for loop. So if you understand for loop, you will understand reduce in the future. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Aziza, for sharing your screen. You did great. In the second part of our class, we will continue working on this problem, but we will make it a bit more complex. Okay, and how are you guys feeling? Like, was this too easy for you?
I think how I know that when you write the code, you have to not talk. I mean, I'm not talking about you, but about myself. Thinking inside the brain is much more better than to explain. So if someone teaching the JavaScript, I think the people are very clever because they can also express their same time they have to think, and second, so they have to also explain to others. So it's very it's a very good skill, like actually.
Yeah,
For me,
What-
I have to think, you know, I cannot talk. And the same way, yes, I also have friends and they also tell me that when they write the code, they don't talk actually, because they have to think.
yeah.
But interview, it's essential, right? We have to know how to explain our code.
Yeah. So
And
this is, yeah, you're right. So, you know, when you are in an interview, so right now it's okay because you guys are just beginning and it's totally fine. I understand that it's difficult to, you know, explain your code while you're writing the code. It's like trying to, I don't know, have you guys seen this reel where the guy, he's like drawing circles with his hands, and then he is like telling you to draw circles in different directions, and you just can't do it because it messes your brain. So that's exactly how it feels to talk and write code and, you know, build the logic at the same time. So it is quite challenging. And I understand how it can put like extra pressure, extra stress. Also, it doesn't let you to focus properly on your code. So you're more prone to like making mistakes when you're sharing your screen because you need to talk and write at the same time. However, that's also a skill that you guys need to learn, because when you're in an interview, you can't just write the code and they will just simply not accept it, because they want you to be able to communicate your idea first before you even put it in the code, you know, because right now, like, software development is a very collaborative environment. So whenever you're brainstorming something with your colleagues, you also need to be able to explain how you want to implement something, right? So when you're brainstorming, so for example, just this week, we were talking about the task that was assigned to me. And believe it or not, when I was learning JavaScript, I literally told my classmate that I'm never gonna need this. Like, this is a very complex sorting algorithm. And I said, oh, you know, that what are the chances of me needing this at work? Like 1 in a million. And guess what? I get a task where I need to write a very complex sorting logic. And I still haven't completed the task, so I still don't know like how I'm gonna solve it. However, when I was discussing it with my manager, I had to explain why this task will take some time to implement, because the logic behind it is so complex, and I had to walk him through those steps, you know, of like why this is complicated and what we're going to need to do in order for this sorting mechanism to work. Okay, so even like at work, so the skill, it's not only necessary in order for you guys to pass the interview, but it's also necessary when you're working in your team, so that you are able to, you know, express your ideas in a way that they will also understand, because not every person in your team is a technical person, right? So for example, my manager, he doesn't have any technical background. So his job is to make sure that we are, you know, we get our tasks, that the tasks are implemented on time, etc., etc. So he's like a bridge between the users of our application and us, right? So he doesn't have the technical background. So part of my job sometimes is to explain why something is impossible or something is difficult, therefore it requires more time. So you need to be able to communicate those kind of technical issues to non-technical person. So this skill to, you know, write and explain and being able to explain the logic is very important. That's why I'm making you guys share your screen almost every class, so you can start practicing these skills while you're still here in this safe environment, in smaller group. So you guys know each other already, right? So you're not shy in front of each other. So it's easier for you to learn it while we are in this small cozy group, rather than you face with this kind of demand when you start working or when you're in an interview where the stress level is already high, right? And then you also have to do something like this if they ask you to solve an algorithm. So yeah, it's something that you guys really need to practice. And that's why we are encouraging you to share your screen, in classes and whenever you're doing your homework. So let's say if you're meeting after class to do your homework, make sure that one of you is always sharing the screen and you're able to, to collaborate and brainstorm together, right? It's very, very important. So yeah, so I'm forcing you guys to share your screen, not because I'm a sadistic person, but maybe I am a little, but but also because I want you guys to practice those skills while we're working on relatively easy tasks. Yeah. Even if let's say in an interview, even if they don't ask you for to solve an algorithm, right? They may give you some live coding task that is just React task. It's not like pure algorithm. You still have to explain how you want to solve it, yeah, first. And then you will start writing code. And as you're writing code, you will also have to talk them through your logic. So it's not like if they don't ask you an algorithm question, it means that you are safe from, this kind of challenge, right? Even if it's like a React task or JavaScript DOM task, you will still have to do something like that. Yeah, so I know that it's very challenging. I myself, like, I struggle with it every time. Even in regular classes with you guys, sometimes it's difficult for me to keep my thoughts together, explain something, and also like continue typing. Yeah, so it's something that I have to work on every day, right? To overcome this kind of struggle. So it's totally normal that you're struggling with it right now. And that's why we are forcing you to do that, because it's, it's important to learn. Okay?
I would like to also share with you one thing. For
Yeah.
example, I have a friend like who graduated from the boot camp, the CETEC boot camp, and I have like a four friends, the close friends, and the smartest guy, he has a problem with the soft skill, and but he's like the best in the coding. Like he every day read the books about the coding, the algorithms, the system design. Like he has the best lead code results. But the problem is like he's not a good in the soft skills, and that's why he's now struggling to find a job. But
Oh,
the other friends who's like average in the coding skills, but they have a high soft skills. And during the interview, usually what I noticed that the companies are looking for the people not who's the smartest one, but who's the like can match the company's vibe or the soft skills,
yeah.
because many people, especially like in the industry of the coding, many people can solve the problems, like now a lot of tools we have it to the for the coding, and the competition is very high. And I just noticed that they are looking for the people who can be like who has a more soft skills like talking and communicating like this. And I'm pretty sure that 100% that if you have a soft skill, it's much more important than, for example, the hard skill. But if you only have the hard skills, the tech skills, but you don't have the soft skill, it's very difficult to find a job.
Yeah, because it's like different, like in America, it's kind of like capitalism, so you have to sell yourself. Even though you are not smart, you have to say that you are smart, So I have seen that kind of interviews with my close friends. I have seen how they talk, and it was very surprised for me because, Asel, in Europe, people don't like that kind of thing, So I was living in like Europe many years, and when I lived in Europe, so when we had an interview, when you come to an interview, if you say that you are the smartest one, you are the greatest one, they will not believe you. They will think that you are lying there, So it is quite so different. So, but in America, as you said, that your friend is very smart at hard skill, but soft skill is he's not good at. but he's struggling to find a job just because in America you have to sell yourself with words like, oh, I'm the best, I will make the company millionaire, and oh, you know. So that's why they get the job, you know. But if you come and say that, oh, I'm very good at technical, you know, I can do really well the very good code, they will not, you know, you don't need kind of, you know. So I understand between Europe and capitalism, and it's the America, the way of the culture is you have to sell yourself, even though you're not that good.
Yeah.
My friend during before the interview, she was applying for the DocuSign, and she like just found out who's gonna be the interviewer. And before going to the interview, she learned about him, like what he likes, where he lives, and everything. And that was a good match that both of them were living before in the Michigan. And the
Mhm.
next interview, for example, she was really, really struggling with the coding. Like she said maybe she solved even like the less than half, yes, less than half the exercises what were given. But since like she learned about the interviewer, like what he likes, what he's like the hobby and where he was from, she
Mhm.
started saying like, yeah, I was in Michigan and something like this. And like that guy was surprised.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So when we
Yeah.
get the interview, then we have to find out where.
This is like how you can show that you really want to get the job, for example. And this is what can I say is a soft skill.
Mhm.
And she did like, she actually learned about him, but when she was talking, she didn't like say, yeah, I was searching about you. No. It was like he thinks like it was just yes, I forgot the one word, совпадение. Yeah. And
Coincidence?
yeah. And this
Coincidence.
is how she got the job.
That's
And
really nice.
yes,
And
the
and
soft skills very important. For example, she could increase her salary like up to extra like 20%.
uh-huh.
But I also have a friend who's like the best in the coding, but his salary is the smallest one, or like within the community. But
Yeah.
he's the smartest one.
Yeah, it's a challenge. And I think your friend was really smart to research their interviewer. I had a similar case. She was being interviewed by Disney, and she Googled the guy who will be, I think that was her tech lead. He was interviewing her, and she found out that he has some background on cinematography, and she also had some background in that. So they kind of connected over this, and they made her a really nice offer. So she got hired by Disney because of her, background. Of course, she also had some technical skills to back it up. But there can be 10 candidates that have similar amount of technical skills, and the deciding factor can be that they have some other connection on some other like cultural level, right? And so they will be thinking, oh, this person is a better fit for the company culturally because they have a background in this and that. So it's very important to work on both technical and soft skills, because you never know which will be, the deciding factor for the interviewer, right? So yeah, nice, really nice stories. Yeah, I also had a person who, and he has like a very, I think he has he has master's degrees in computer science, and his technical skills are like through the roof. He knows everything about his own domain, but also he goes like beyond that. He is learning about backend, about databases, how they work, and his skills, and not only for example, algorithm skills. Like some people are really good at algorithms, other people are really good at CSS, right? But he is good at everything. However, he's not really good at selling himself. So he was eventually, he was employed and he is working right now. But I think with his skill set, he could be working for like top companies easily, you know. But because he is not really good at presenting himself, I guess, and he's just very self-critical. Like some people, they know that they don't know something, but they still go for it. You know, they still apply for this job, or they still, you know, ask for a raise and stuff like that. But he's like really self-critical. He is his own harshest critic. So he always thinks that I need to learn more before I apply to like top companies, or I need to learn more before I ask for a new position or like a raise, or apply to, you know, some other company where he could have a higher salary, right? So yeah, just, you know, don't put yourself down. Make sure that you value your knowledge, value your skills, and yeah, never shy away from any kind of, you know, opportunities that come your way.
And also like hard skill is still very important, because okay, let's say that manager liked me, you know, I mean, he liked me because I just I have very good soft skill. But when I get the job, you know, so I have to do my code, right? So I cannot all the time bother my colleagues, you know, and ask for help, you know. Then you will get stress yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so soft skill, of course, it's good, but hard skill also very important. And okay, when you get the job and he liked you and everything is okay with manager, but when you give task and you cannot do and you stress all the time and you have to finish your the time limit, you know, and if you cannot finish and you still have problem, and then you will just your life quality will gone, and then you will lose also your confidence, you know. And in the end, so your colleagues will start to say, okay, yeah, he can help me once and twice, you know, okay, a little bit, 6 months, 1 year, and then after you say, I'm sorry, you know, you have to fix that. And
Yeah.
that's good for myself. So that's also very important, the hard skill, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, it's 50-50. So 50% your communications and 50% the hard skills, because passing the interview is one thing, and then another thing is staying in the company. Yeah, but your colleagues, they will be, if you're in a good team, they will be super helpful, like especially in the first 3-4 months while you're still adjusting and, you know, learning the code base. They will be like very helpful. And hopefully all of you will end up in, you know, in really nice collaborative teams, because yeah, not every team is like that, right? But hopefully you guys will be in like a very friendly environment where you can grow and where you can learn and not, you know, shy away from asking questions, which is very important. Okay, should we have a break? So I have a suggestion. Why don't we have one break, 15-minute break, and then in the second half we will continue solving the questions that I have prepared. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Thank you so much, Aziza. You can stop sharing your screen. I will torture somebody else in the second half of the class. Okay. Are you guys back with me?
Yes.
Yep.
Good. Okay. Let's develop a system where each one of you has like a keyword so that when we are back in class from the break, you guys have like your own special keyword so that I know you're back. Okay, so any volunteers for the next set of exercises?
Can I try?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. What is it?
Okay. So I just wanted to do a little something more on our expenses array. 1 second, let me make it just a little bit more confusing. So let me get the remote control.
And
Mhm.
can you please, I cannot see the letters are very small.
Oh, could you zoom in a little bit for us, Maxa?
Yes, okay.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Cool. Maxa, could you please move the expenses array here somewhere, all the way down? And let's go ahead and turn that off.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you. I couldn't find how to turn off the
Yeah, when it first was introduced into REPL, and we were in the class, I didn't know REPL introduced AI. So I gave the students the task and REPL just solved it for them. The whole thrill of solving the exercise was gone. So I have a question for you guys. What if this array of expenses doesn't only include numbers, but let's say it includes some strings, some objects. So how do we deal with that? So we only want to add the number if it is a number. So you can just go ahead and copy that and paste it here and adjust your algorithm a little bit.
I get this one. Uh, maybe I can get the condition if,
Go ahead.
for example, if we can say number, in our case, is what was the type?
Number. So
If
type of number should be number.
this, yeah, then this.
Okay.
Oh,
Good.
no, it's not gonna work.
Mhm. So before we start fixing it, right now it's giving us 0, right? So what does it mean exactly? Why is it 0?
Because it's false.
It means that it
Condition
remains 0 because it never enters the if condition, right? So it means that your if condition is never true. So now we need to, okay, it's still going to be 0.
Okay.
So yeah, let's forget about else condition for just 1 second. So now I want you to think about your if statement. All right, and take your time. So how would you fix it? Right now, look at your if statement inside parentheses and check if it's doing what you think it's doing.
I'm saying
You should yeah, check inside the index.
I'm saying that this is number, right? I'm saying this number expense going to number and if it's number, no. Now he's selecting each of them. Okay, selecting each of them. Then I'm saying if it's equals to number, then do this.
I want to hear from Janar.
So we need to check, we need to find all the numbers. So we will be checking, iterate and check each value if it is the type of is equal to number.
Right.
So in the if condition, we can write like if type of array or what do you have in the num index I is equal to number, then we can add to our total.
If type of num equals to
Number.
like this, right?
Mhm.
Then yeah, that works. I need
Good.
type of, oh, okay.
Good. So how about now?
And none is still number, right? If you type of number and num I can we do like this? Oh no.
What are you checking, Maksat?
1 second. Can we do like this?
Oh, that's interesting.
Because it's still number, but it's more than if it's 0, then just keep this one.
What
Just
if
keep
we have negative numbers in there?
negative numbers. Maybe how to say it's if it's not equal to none.
Dovud, can you help us here?
Right?
How do we exclude none?
Oh my god, that means do the same thing but the greater one, so it's not gonna show us none. So the 0, so none is not like greater than some.
No.
Okay, Sultan, what do you think?
I don't know.
In your Asel, I didn't understand the second question of the number and what we have to do.
So the trick here is, 1 second, Maksat, let me get the control of the screen.
Okay.
So here, the initial task was to exclude non-numerical values, right? So for example, Maksat is excluded, this object is excluded, right? However, now I have added none to the array. And the issue with that is if you keep the current solution, right? Right now it will be none. Why? Because type
None
of none is number. So you cannot exclude with this if statement, you cannot exclude none because type of none is number. Does that make sense?
I think the first thing what the Maksat been doing without the type of, he was right, but he was the number method was the like the writing wrong. No.
Asel, you are saying literally that first inside the array we found the maksat, right? Because it is, you are checking inside the expenses if it's number, right? And then it's not a number.
Yeah,
But
so basically with this kind of check, we are trying to exclude all other data types except number, right? So we are saying only if the type of element, right, is equal to number. In this case, we want to add that element to our total, right? So that's what our current solution is doing. The problem with this solution is that if I add none to the array, it will also pass this check, this if statement, it will pass because the type of none, so if you console log,
It's number, yes.
type of, why am I caps locking type of?
I can do
Oh.
it for you if you want it.
Thank you. So if I console log type of none, it's going to be number.
But then Maksat included the second condition when the array, the index array at index I is not equal to none.
Yeah,
Why did it not work?
yeah, that's
I have
not-
to put,
So the hint is when you
Mm.
want to exclude none, there is a specific method.
yeah, you still have to, when you write that for loop, so it's the inside checking maksat, none, and the object, right? So what you have to do is just, I didn't understand the exact question. We have to add also none inside the,
No, we have to avoid. We have to avoid this
You
none.
need to
have to skip,
exclude it.
right?
Yeah, skip. We skip Maksat and this object. We also need to skip that none.
Yeah. Right now it's not skipping. That's why the output
The
is
none.
not.
And then you have to write then again if else if.
One second. Can I use the boolean, the true false number? Can I try? For example, we say and. For example, we say that type of number is supposed to be equals to number, and
Mhm,
for example, like is none.
mhm.
For example, yeah, if it's like if it's not none,
Yeah.
then use it. If it's
Yeah.
none, then don't use it. Yeah, it's well.
So is none is a specific method to exclude none out of your array. This specifically this none out of your array. And it's the only like 100% method to exclude none value. Okay? Any
But-
questions?
That's true false. Yeah, true false.
Yeah.
Boolean.
Yes?
So the first thing would be in Maksat doing without the type of. It was the wrong way. I'm just like my question is he just didn't put the right thing about the number.
Before it was right. Before we didn't have the none. It was everything was right.
No, the first thing without the type of the very first time, like with you without the type of, you put the num I equal the number method, remember?
Yeah. It was
Oh,
wrong.
without the type of.
Yes, but
Yeah.
can we do it the same, but he just put the wrong number method, no? Like,
No, it would still, you need a type of in front of the num I, because otherwise it will compare, for example, 49 with a string number, so it will never pass.
We need to compare the type of number with a number. If you put, for example, type of num,
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. If we put, for example, type of num, what type of num is equals now, for example?
No, I understand this method, what you do. I'm just trying to think about the other method, how to do it. Like the first time you've been doing, I thought it's going right, but no,
No, without type of is not going to compare it correctly because it will compare the value to the string number and it will never be true.
I need to return.
Okay.
On line 175, the second part of the condition, the not is not. Why can we not write like and num, the index of y, I is not equal to none?
I think that way you cannot exclude non-numeric value. So what you're saying is num I.
Oh, you're right.
Language.
1 second, let me fix that. So
Max, can you please share your code in chat?
is not equal to none. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes, yes.
So in this case, it will still give us, the none will still pass this check. That's a weird, quirky JavaScript behavior. You cannot exclude none by comparing it to none. Yeah, the only,
It's exactly the same of the type of, right? So type of and for none is none, right?
type of,
Almost.
type of,
No, type of is for type of is for number, it's okay. But if we're not gonna check the none, then it will be is none, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So that's the only way to exclude none with like 100% guarantee. That was a method developed specifically to exclude none, basically.
I see. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you guys
So-
please share this code, please?
Yeah, I will share it. Second, give me.
Maksat is greedy, he doesn't want to share. So I was gonna say something. Is none will return true if it's none, and it will return false for any other values. Yeah. Okay,
Do you
good.
have
Hmm?
Do you have more exercises? Can I do one more time?
Sure. Yes.
Celia, one more question. If none is a number, then why is it making everything none if whenever we try to add it to the total?
Yeah,
I guess
good question.
none plus 45 is gonna be equals to none. How the system can count none plus 45, 99?
It would make more sense if it was considered like a zero, right? It doesn't have any value. Why does it make none?
You would think that it's so basically none is there to represent a non-numeric value. So none literally stands for not any number, right? And usually I think that the purpose of none is to communicate to us when we are trying to add, for example, two, I don't know, non-numeric values, or when we are trying to, for example, convert a string. So let's say we assume wrongly that all of our values here are numbers, right? So for example, you can sometimes, you can get numbers in strings. That happens quite frequently. So then you would want to convert this value. So let's say, okay. So let's say you have number as 49, right? So you assume that the value of this string is numeric value. So then you want to convert, let's say parse int. You want to convert it to a number, right? Let's say a real number. So you expect this to be 49, right? So if I console log now, real number, so it will give us 49 as a real number, right? As expected. What if something goes wrong and here instead of the numeric value, you have some kind of weird string? So then if you try to run it, you will get none. So that's JavaScript's way of telling you that something went wrong in your mathematical calculations or mathematical operation, and the output of it is not numeric value, not a number. So I think that was the whole purpose of inventing none as a data type. But I may be wrong, but that's what I assume at least.
Aselia, Aselia,
Yes,
so can I share my code?
sure.
That's what I've been saying. If you even here, if you put the none, it's not gonna like. Can you please check this sharing? Like,
I have
Did
to
you
share.
get some?
so the
I-
first thing what he been doing, he was right. Why you like put the type of? I don't understand here. Like,
Oh, that's what you did. No, that's not what he was going for though.
no, he just like first thing without the type of, he put the number I equal number, the number method, but he didn't put the method like the bracket, and didn't put the number I.
Is
In
that
this,
what you're trying to do, Maksat, initially? Could you
I
copy?
thought he was doing this one, but he just didn't put like call the method.
I did like this before. I did like this num
Yeah.
equals 2, and it was not strings. It was like
Yes. Yes. And
Mhm.
it was now the if you took off the rest of it, just try to took off the rest.
this
The
one.
yes.
Okay.
Here so the here you've been doing the right, he just didn't call the number method. Have you been trying to call the number method here?
I just did like this, and I understand this. Yeah, I just console it, and it was 0.
So here if you put the method like yes, the break scope key, and put the num I.
It's still not going to work as expected.
No, without yes, can you take the no, it's wrong.
You have extra square bracket after
Yes.
number.
And also in the take the brackets from the yeah, in front of the number.
Oh,
The-
okay. Okay. Yeah.
yes, here.
What is wrong here? 1.
You forgot one
Because you
bracket
forgot one.
after. Yeah.
One bracket after the
Why?
Which line? Which line?
on the same line the after the last is one more bracket there.
One more here?
Parentheses,
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
yeah, this one. Okay, I got you.
closing parentheses.
Yes. And if even if you put the none there, it's gonna work like just try to put the none there. And also you forget to put the
Comma.
none comma.
So what's happening here is you are comparing the value to itself and turning that into a number.
Yes, I thought he been doing this one, but he just didn't put the method like.
So technically, yeah, you could do that. However, I think the better way would be still by using the type of in this case. Why? Because when you look at this code, it's not very clear what you're trying to do.
I mean, for
Plus,
me it's clear. You just
What
equal
what
it to the
yeah,
number. So it's
what
supposed
does
to
the
be.
number mean?
It's a
Number.
number method. It's just doing your number I equals to like it's supposed to be the number. The number method always to call only the number. You can change the string to the number by number method.
You return string to
Yeah,
number.
so so it's gonna be equal only the numbers.
So even this one is gonna be number, right? Then if
No,
it's
no, it's gonna be find out only the numbers by the
It
data.
will not pass the if statement if it's not a numeric value, basically.
Mm,
It's just different ways of solving the same problem, but I also agree that it's better to use type of because it explicitly shows that we are trying to check the type of rather than using the mathematical value of number.
Yeah. Technically,
Well,
it works.
Yeah, I
Technically, it
agree.
works.
I agree.
But the more precise way would be to just use type of, because when somebody else is reading your code, it's like absolutely clear that you're trying to exclude certain types of values or include only like numeric values, right?
Yeah.
Good job. Okay. Maqsad, you want to do one more, right? Okay, so let's do one more like on the easier side. So I want you to come up with a function that will get the indexes of even numbers inside an array. So
I need to select only even numbers from the array, right?
indexes of even numbers. So not the numbers themselves, but their
Okay.
indexes.
Indexes. It's index of, right? It's the same array.
No, let's do only
There's no even numbers.
normal numbers. Okay, 1 second, let me send an array. Okay, there you go.
Okay. So you want me to create function? Say even no. Okay, even numbers. Which give then you want me to use loop. Example zero then oh,
Do we need to create a new array to push the
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you should return a new array.
Okay, you want me, for example, here to select only even numbers, right? Even was chutney, right? Even was
Yeah.
chutney.
Yeah.
Like this. Oh no, it's 0, 1, like 2, 4, this way.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to use what was the uh 1 second. I forgot it was index dot, I guess, right? Okay, let's say like this. You need sum or just a list?
What do you mean?
I need to sum the index numbers or just
Just an array of those indexes.
array of index. Okay.
Maybe you should like
1 second. 1 second. Let us think that later.
Take your time.
And I have to use this one. This one index of even.
platform for screen.
This one's supposed to be index of even, but I wanna basically what the new array equals to index even. It just give me the all indexes, but I need to select one second. Can I do like this? I want to check first this.
That's a good idea. Yeah, let's check.
I forget.
Call your function.
Yeah.
It says index is not defined. What does it mean?
Mm.
So you should write index of, right? But I know that index of is used for string.
Index of is a method that exists in JavaScript. However, we're not going to use it in this specific example because it's not really going to help us.
So
But we can circle back to that after we have solved this one, and we can talk about index of.
Asel, can I tell you something? Like, if I were, like I would just create one. He created number 190 like an array. It would be not a 0, but it would be just empty array, and I would just go write an if, and just put all the even number inside the array.
Okay, so the first idea of creating an empty array is definitely a good idea. Yeah, that's how you should do it. But then how would you put, so what would be your if statement exactly? How would you differentiate even numbers from not?
Yeah, you put just like an 2, like an if evenly is just 2, 4, 6, right? So then it will be like an % sign, right?
Yeah, that's modulo. Good.
If I modulus 2 equals to 0.
Exactly.
And then you just put,
Happen.
and
Okay. Any comments, guys?
I didn't understand here,
What-
like function, we put even, but this function, it's not connected to our const numbers, right? So how is going to take it?
this number is
Oh, so this is just a parameter. We can name it whatever we want. Like literally it can be, one second, Maksat, I think Maksat, you muted yourself accidentally. So if you were talking, we couldn't hear you. Let me unmute you.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be named as R, like array.
Mhm.
It's
Sorry, can you just give me the time? I need to solve
Yeah.
this one.
So
Just came from me. I will do this, for example. No, not like this.
so Gulnur, I will return to your question in a minute. So let's
Can I just finish
Maksat.
first of all the assignment? Yes. Because I'm just thinking now. I will do like this. I don't want to mess up everything. Let's delete this. Let's put, for example, here.
Okay.
And say, what do I want? If even modulo 2 equals to 2, what I want to get here? I want to get new array.
Okay.
Push. And I want get even. I. So
You cannot push the result because it's 0.
Mhm.
It will be anti-array.
1 second, let me finish. Wait, this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay. Turn. Okay.
Okay, let's try to run it.
1 second. Let me check one more time. Console even number, function numbers here.
Yeah, because you don't, because 0, it has to be array inside of the, you cannot push the even to 0 because there's no array.
So on line 190, you need to check the initial value of new array. Good. Good. Okay. So we want indexes though, right? Not numbers themselves. We want indexes.
Oh yeah, we want indexes.
How do we get indexes?
I just forgot it, to be honest.
Just
Index of,
I.
right?
No. See, in the push, you have even the index of I. So I is the index. So you can push I.
Exactly.
Like this?
Without the square bracket stuff.
Yeah. This one I didn't know before.
There you go.
So if I want to push indexes, I just need to put I. What does I mean? I mean it's our index. Okay, yeah. Here we say that index I 0. Oh, okay. Now I got it.
Good. Okay. So now let me change a couple of things, and then I will circle back to all the questions that you guys had. So first of all, Gulnur, coming back to your question. So you were asking here, if we say even, right? How does it know that it needs to use the numbers array, right? So in here, the function knows that it will have some kind of parameter, right? And the first thing that I would fix in this function is naming of the parameter, because parameter should communicate exactly what it's expecting. So in this case, you can just say array or array of numbers, for example, right? So in this way, like we know that this function is supposed to accept as a parameter some kind of array of numbers, right? So if we are changing that, it means that here we're also changing that, because we're saying that this for loop now needs to loop through some kind of array. So right now there is no specific array, Gulnur. It's just theoretical array. Any kind of array can be here. Okay, so let's fix that as well.
Okay, got it.
All right. So now when we call our even number function, we are passing this numbers array. However, it can be any other array, right? We can have multiple different arrays under different numbers. Numbers 2, numbers 3, right? And we can call this function with different arrays, right? Just by passing their name here. Okay. So then if I add like 112, so now we will have a different result because it's a different array now. Okay, so here it's just theoretical array that can be passed whenever we call this function. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah, thank you. It's clear.
Good, thank you. And Maksat, that's just a comment to you. Whenever you're working with functions, just try to give meaningful names, okay? Because even like it doesn't really communicate what kind of parameter this function is expecting. Yeah, so it should, like, by looking at this function, you should immediately understand what kind of parameter it's expecting, okay? Good. Now, another comment here is, coming back to Aziza, your question. So there is a method, index of, right? So that will return, so for example, let's say this numbers
Like,
TO.
yeah, it's like string method, right?
So it's a method of, hold on, I forgot. It's
Method of string, like,
I think it also applies to array. 1 second. Index of. So for example, in this case, what we could do is we could say numbers 2, right? Dot index of, and let's say we are looking for 12. Right? So in this case, it will return the index of 12 inside numbers 2 array. So if I run it, no, index of is not a function.
yeah,
Why is
it's it for string.
index of, sorry. Method of array instances return the first index of which a given element can be found in the array, right? So why is it not? Did we misspell it? Index. Oh, yes, we did. Index of. Let's try again. Here. So it's returning 2. It means that index of 12
This two.
inside this array is 2. Okay, so it's a good method to be aware of. It wouldn't help us in this specific situation, right? Because, and also whenever you're using index of, you should remember that it will return the first index it finds. So for example, in this case, we have 12 under index of 2 and 3, right? But it will only return 2. It will not return 3 because it will look for like the first index that matches, and then it will immediately return. Okay?
Okay.
I think you can also do that with strings.
Yeah, it's example.
The same way. So for example, if you're looking for dog inside this string, right, it will return the index of basically of D, I think, in this case. However, if you have another string, dog, here, it will not look for it. It will just return the first index it finds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and how I understood that index of you can only use if you want to find index of the one item only, right? But if it's
Yeah.
main item, you cannot find.
I think you can pass multiple items. So let's see if they have that.
The question is, can we use the index of to find the even indexes or not?
No, unfortunately not. But I think you can, let's see, 0 indexed first character.
Actually, in the first example, that was the example. In the first one, can you go upper? For example, here the dog was mentioned 2 times. This is what you want to say. You see in the second console.log, we can see that the dog was founded in 38, and the first dog was 15 index. This is what you want to say, that you can put dog 2 times, and the first one, the identified is 15, the second, the identified is 38 indexes.
Oh, yeah. Cool. I didn't know you can do that.
Yeah, you just need to put the +1.
So yeah, Aziza, you can search for multiple strings in this case. It's not something that I would advise to do, because then if you have another dog, it will still not find it. It will find the first and second one.
Yeah,
It will not.
that I ask, like, you can just find one specific, if it's like many dogs there.
Then it's not very helpful. Then you would have to loop and look for the dog string. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I'm
All
always confusing with a modulo. I'm thinking like it's supposed to just, because it looks like the divisible, like, and I'm thinking that, for example, 12 divided by 2, it's
yeah.
6. And 6 is not equals to the 0. This is what I always forget it. That's why I was talking before. But how the modulo works is like 12 minus 2 minus 2 minus 2 minus 2 minus 2 minus 2, and then it's supposed to be 0, right?
Sort of, yeah. So it will divide it by 2, and if there is any remainder, which is остаток, right? So if there is any remainder, then it will be false in this case. So for example, if we have what's the opposite of even?
Odd.
Odd number, right? So if we divide it by 2, there will be a remainder of 1. That's why it's not.
For example, like this. Can I show you? Like, for example, we have number 7, right? And 7 we are dividing by 2, right? This is how work?
Yeah, so it will try to divide it by 2, right?
Like
so it will give us
3
the result of 3.
And I will divide again by 2, right? This is how it works.
The modulo.
25. Yeah. Or not.
Yeah, I don't know what's the mechanism behind it. I just know that it will return the remainder. So it will check for the remainder. If there is a remainder, then it will compare it. So in this case, if we're comparing, if the remainder of this division operation is 0, so in this case, it will pass the if state.
The question, for example, if 12, the remainder is 0, right? But calculate to 0, it's like 12 divided by 0, like this, and it's gonna be 6, right?
Yeah.
And the 6 we have to divide again, or not? If you divide 6, it's gonna be 3. And if you 3 again to 2, it's gonna be 1.5.
No, I don't think that's what they are doing. I think they're
I just want to understand how the modulo works, how the modulo get it that it's 12 and the remainder is 0.
Behind the modulo, there is quite the complex logic there. I checked it once. 1 second.
I actually understand this. The remaining is gonna be 0 because if 12 like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. If you like start at 12 minus 2 minus 2 minus 2 minus 2, it's gonna be at the end 0. This is how I understand.
Yeah, because division behind the scenes, it is sort of like how many 2s you can fit into 12, right? I will look for the modulo implementation behind the scenes. If I find it, I'll share it with you guys, okay?
Okay.
Let's not spend much time on it.
I just need to remember that.
Yeah, just remember that it's a remainder after the division is done.
After division of what? That's the problem.
After so in our case, a number, so for example, 4 divided by 2, what's the remainder after the division? It's 0, right?
4 divided by 2 is gonna be 2.
Yeah.
The result of the division is 2, but the remainder is 0.
Remainder.
No,
No.
it's remainder is 2, and then you will also divide it for 2, and then it will be the remainder will be 0.
Okay, for example, what about the 12? For example, 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2, it's
Okay,
3.
divided
3
by
divided by 2 is 1.5.
Yeah,
It's not.
but it is
No.
you will get the 0, you will not get the remainder there. But if you divide for 5 to 2, you will still get the remainder, because there's 3, and then 3 is divided by 2, and you will get 1.
1.5. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. That's a
So
problem.
you
Not
don't need
0.
to keep.
Oh, no, it's not like that. It's not
I think
mathematical.
it's not
That's why I'm
divided,
asking
but
how the
it's
bottom works.
easier with the minus. If you make it minus, I think it's easier.
So do you
Like
guys
12
remember
minus 2 minus 2
how,
minus 2
like
minus
in
2
high
minus 3.
school, let's say we have 120, right? And we are dividing it by 2, right? So we take 12 divided by 2 will be 6, right? So 12. And then we have
Oh yeah, I got you now. It's simple mathematics.
then we have
And
0
then everything is 0, yeah.
divided by 2 is 0. So the result is 60, right? There is no remainder here. That's what I mean. If we have 123 divided by 2, right, we would follow the same. So that would be 6.
And
Then
remaining,
we have 3 as a remainder, right? So
yeah.
3 is still bigger than 2. So we have 1 here.
Yeah.
Minus 2, we have 1. So
Yeah.
1 is the remainder after the division. 61 is the result.
I got you now. Okay.
Asel, maybe we try to find the same with this odd numbers, not with evenly number, and then maybe it will be clearly to
Now I understand it. I totally understand.
put the number 94.
Sure. Yeah.
In 94, so we only this one we only found did with the evenly.
Right.
Let us try to with the odd number and how it will be.
Of course.
Put-
Yeah.
Just
let's do
put
it.
Just
three-
change 2
two
for
three.
1, and it's
Oh, yeah.
Or change the equal to the not equal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too
Easy.
cool.
Either that should change to 1 or that should change to not equal to. So let's try that. 1 second. I don't know how to stop the annotation now. How do I do that? Okay, now I think I'm good. Okay. How do I, oops, sorry. How do I erase the annotations?
It's supposed to be eraser there. Let me check.
Yeah, I don't see, I don't see it. Oh no, that's annotation again. Is there like a toolbox that I'm missing here? Because I don't see any toolbox when I start annotating. I only see the pen.
Let me check.
Yeah, I really don't see the eraser. Oh, Mahsa, could you stop sharing and start sharing again? That should erase it, I think. Good, okay. Yeah, that's an ancient way to do it, but that's the only way I know. So yeah, now let's solve it for odd numbers like Aziza suggested. So Maksat, what will be the remainder if we're only looking for odd numbers?
This.
Yeah, exactly. So Aziza, do you see? So either we should, oh, 1 second, let me get the control again.
Oh, okay.
Can you guys see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay, so either we are getting modulo of 2 as 1, right? So that's one way to do it. And we will get odd numbers in this case. So we are getting numbers 2. So 1, which is 7, right? and then 4, which is 19, and then 33, and etc. So we are getting those indexes now. So either this, or we can say it's not equal to 0. That will also do the trick. You see? Does that make sense? So what modulo is doing is just checking the divisibility, right? So let's say we only want indexes of numbers that are divisible by 5. So in this case, we check the divisibility by saying modulo of 5 should be 0. So in this case, we will only get
Only
4,
numbers that is divisible to 5.
100. Yeah. So 40, 55, and 100 are the indexes that we're getting here. Okay. So let's say we only want numbers that are not divisible by 5, right? So in this case, we are saying not divisible. So we will get all other indexes except for 7, 8, and 9. Okay. Is it a bit more clear, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yes?
Asel, I had the one question. When I did an exercise, I asked you how to multiply, and we just changed to 1, and the 0 to 1. But
Okay.
when let's say we have an array, and inside the array, first number is not the 1 or 2 or 10, just 0.
Mm-hmm.
It will not be like, then we have to write an if else, right? If we have to write.
We can put condition then, like
So
if.
it depends. It depends on what kind of result you're looking for. So if, let's say we want to get the multiplication of all of these numbers, right? And the last number is 0.
No, I mean first number 0.
Or first number is 0.
Yeah.
You can do
So-
like this, example, if it's not equal to 0, then multiply, right?
I mean, if we are looking for the correct mathematical result, the result of multiplication of all these numbers should be 0, because that's mathematically correct, right? So that would be okay. But if the task is to get, multiplication of all the numbers, unless the number is 0, of course, in this case, we would exclude it. But it would have to be a specific condition. Because otherwise, our calculation is mathematically correct.
Yeah, we wrote very simple, like when I did an exercise, we just multiply, and I mean, we just multiplied because 0 to 1. That because first number was not the 0, it was 44,99 or something like that, And but if it's 0, and if you want to still increase multiply the other numbers after 0, we still have to write if, right? Because otherwise it will not work.
Yeah. So yeah. So if
Like,
the
depends on the
condition
goal.
to
If-
exclude 0, so in that case, so let's say we are generating a function, get what's the get product, right? Product. Because if we are adding, that's a sum, but if we are multiplying, it's a product. Okay. And we are expecting an array. So the first thing that we want to make sure is if we are creating a result.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the catch in the previous exercise. So when we are getting the sum of numbers, it's okay for the initial value of result to be 0, right?
Yeah.
Because when we are adding, it's not an issue. But in this case, it has to be 1 so that we don't affect the result accidentally. Does that make sense?
So
then
multiplies 1 to 0, it's still 0, right?
But it's right, yes. It's supposed to be 0.
Yeah.
You want to get.
So that's the thing, like, okay, so then we are looping through. Do you guys wanna use for loop or for off loop?
Doesn't matter. For off.
Okay, so let element of array. Oh, I think I switched to Russian again. Yeah, 1 second. So let element of array. Right? So result times equals element. And then we return result. So if we check it, if we call this function get product with our first array, which is just numbers that doesn't have any zeros in it, let's console log. Okay, let's clear and run. Even number is not defined. Oh, let's comment this out. And this one as well. Okay, so that's the product of the numbers inside the numbers array, which is a correct result, right? If we do the same with numbers too, inevitably we're gonna get 0. Well, because the product of these numbers is 0, right? So there is no avoiding that. So here you would have to, let's say this is your task, right? So then you would have to clarify, do you want me to exclude 0 from the array? Because there's a possibility that it will be 0, right? So do you want it excluded or not? Because it may vary from task to task. They may tell you, okay, yes, we want to exclude 0. We want to get just a pure result of, numbers that are bigger than 0 or less than 0, right? So then you would have to specify if element is not equal to 0, only in this case, you should multiply. But there may well be, a case or a task where they don't want you to exclude 0 because, at the end of the day, your mathematical calculation is correct, right? Anything that is multiplied by 0 will be 0. So they don't want you to like skew the result. Yeah. So these are the things that you will need to clarify with your tech lead or with your manager. You will have to say, okay, there is an edge case where value can be 0. So, whatever the other numbers are, it will give us 0. Do you want me to exclude it or not? So it's up to them.
But
Okay.
if they don't want, like, let's say, if they don't want the 0, we can just slice, right? And continue. Slice 0 and then continue with other numbers, right?
We can just exclude it with if statement. I would be very careful with slicing because it will modify the original array. So it will forever remove 0 from this array, right? So sometimes, so if this is your data that you're getting, you don't wanna mutate it. So unless you copy the array and slice it, I think it's easier to just use like if statement and exclude 0 from your calculation. That would be the safer way.
Okay.
If you slice it, there may be some other functions that are also doing some operations in this array, and they will lose this 0 from the array. So that's not what we want to do.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Do you guys want to solve one more? Or is it like, if you are tired, I can let you go. If not, we can solve one more.
Celia, I have a question about the easy questions number 73.
Okay, let's do that.
Can we solve it together?
Sure.
So I have to unshare.
Yeah, Maksat, can you please share this?
Okay, okay, no problem.
73.
$73.
Mm-hmm. Can you open that one, please?
Yeah, I think. Can you see?
Yep.
73. Okay, your function will receive an array with two numbers. Print the first value and return the second. Yeah, that's a really silly one. So, so they just want you to do this. One
Your
second.
function will receive an array.
So what I did, I print console log 3 and return 5, but
Uh-huh.
Not
there
working.
is- it's not working.
Really?
Yeah.
Let
You want us to print out the window print, but it doesn't work too.
let
You
me
know
get
the printers.
So it's not passing the check?
No, it's not.
You want us to window print, Asel, not the console log.
Will receive an array.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So function, what's the name of the function? Print?
Print and return, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So array, right? So I thought what they want is just console log array. So they said print first value. So in this case, array index 0, and then return array at index 1. I thought that's what, but it's not running.
Oh, yeah, I did exactly the same, but it's not running.
Yeah, I do the same thing. It's not running for me too.
Really? Can you share your screen, Janar?
In our, when you push the run, it's showing us the printer.
Let's see. Maksat, thank you so much. Could you please let Janar share her screen and see why it's throwing an error? Thank you, Maksat. By the way, you did really well today. Good job.
Oh.
I think it's skills or practice. Oh, okay. So, yeah, some of those questions are silly, but most of them are good. 73. Okay, let's see.
The function print and return.
Oh, so the function name, I think, should be the same as what they're showing you. Maybe that's why it's not accepting.
Just print, right?
Yeah, because
you're right.
behind this algorithm, there is a test case, and it's testing specifically for the print function. I think that's why it's not accepting. So
Yes,
let's
you're
I
right.
understand that the name should be the print. Where is it?
because, yeah, once we run the test case, I will show you. So if you run it,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So the only issue was the name of the.
Yeah, so basically, when we are writing test cases for functions, I think they're also checking for the name of the function as well. So let's check it. Let's change the function name and try to run it again and see if that will break. Mhm.
Sorry, I'm not at my desk, so I have to juggle. Oh my God.
So, oh, it's still accepting.
Yeah, it's still accepting.
Oh, interesting. So it's not the issue with function name. I thought that it's also checking for like a name.
Before
Let's
please
try
on
that.
my
Before it wasn't accepting. I did exactly the same thing. Yeah.
same for me.
Can we try to run again?
Yeah, it's running.
Oh, interesting.
Refresh the web page and again the
Yeah, can you copy, refresh, and just copy the thing?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, it didn't
Can
go
save
anywhere.
it
Oh,
here.
because I submitted.
Yes.
That's why.
Can you change the name, submit again, and try to submit again? Oh, I think
That's what is coming out every time. Yeah, that's what's happening.
So
For me,
I think what happened is once you have submitted it, for some reason it's not letting you to resubmit. Yeah, now it's failing.
yeah, the name is the
That's what I was getting before. So let's go
Yeah.
back to return. Yeah. Okay.
Now submit. Uh-huh.
Okay, that was the thing then. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry
It's
about
been bugging me for days.
that.
This question.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Yeah, sorry about the confusion. Sometimes those questions are really funny, but most of them are good and they're really worth spending time and solving them. So again, my advice to everyone is to spend your weekend solving those questions. That will really help you to be more comfortable with the syntax, with building your logic, and just overall it's really fun. Like once you start solving them, you can't really stop. It's like eating chips, you know.
Yeah.
You can't stop until you finish the bag. At least in my case, that's what it is. So yeah, I promise you, you will really enjoy your time solving them, because some of them are really like, you know, testing your logic. So yeah, it's fun. I promise you that.
for me, like the difficult to understand what they want from me. The exercises, for example, here it says print the first value, but
Mhm.
when it says print, I'm thinking I need to use print, the print. But
Yeah,
now you use the console,
yeah.
and that's why I'm confusing. If they put, for example, console the first value and return the second, I will understand what they want from me. But when I see the word like print, because like in JavaScript, we use the word print to show off something in the browser, right? And
Mhm.
it's always confusing me.
Yeah, sorry. This one is not the best example of like enjoying solving those questions. Yeah, some of those conditions are confusing. Um, so if you are not sure that you understand it, just skip it. Yeah, just skip it. If the condition is confusing, move on to the next one. If you're stuck for longer than, I don't know, an hour on one question, just keep it and we can solve it together during the extra class. Okay.
Mhm.
Like most of the questions, if it's not very clear, it's like it's not you, it's us situation. So probably the description is confusing. Okay.
Okay.
All
Thank you.
right. So yeah, judging from today's class, I think we will pause the hacker rank or the other like algorithm questions. I think we still need to practice simpler questions and like simpler logic and just, syntactical stuff. So next class, I would suggest we continue solving this kind of questions, but they're going to be a bit more complex. Next class, probably we will practice something with like array of objects or just nested objects, this kind of questions. What do you guys think?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So a quick question. Do you have more exercises like you provided today for us? I like yours. Maybe you have more practice.
Thank you. 1 second, let me check. Because for today, I actually had like 10 questions. We ended up
You can
doing-
send all the questions for us and we can practice by ourselves.
Sure. Yeah, let's do that. So let me put them together because they're kind of disorganized right now. So I will put them together and send them like a link or something, and you can spend some time solving them. Okay? So they're
Yeah,
not
we
That
can
would be
also
awesome.
discuss this homework. Like,
okay. As if you guys don't have enough homework.
oh, we have enough homeworks, but you know, yours is like more understandable logically.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, yeah, let me put them together and I will share them with you guys. So you can, if you have time, it's not mandatory, so don't feel pressure. But if you have time and want to spend some time on algorithms, you're very welcome to do so. And if you solve them, make sure you also share the solution with me so I can have a look before next class. All right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, do you see the messages on Slack?
On Slack, did you
Yeah.
send something?
Yes, and I
I
did
don't
not
see anything from
respond,
you.
so I was wondering if you have the access to our Slack channel, our cohort.
It's 24/7, right? Yes, I do. I am present in your cohorts. Yeah, so the thing with personal Slack, with CTEC Slack, I mostly check it once before class, like a few hours before class, to see if you have like any kind of special requests for the class, so I can adjust my plan. But if you want to reach me in the middle of the week, let's see. If there's like a special request, I mean, I can share my WhatsApp if you want, if there's like a special request, because I rarely check Slack in the
That
middle.
would be awesome.
Yeah, so the thing is, I don't usually pick up my personal laptop until Saturday because I spend so much time working, and then like after work I try not to have any screen time, so that's why I only check my CTEC Slack on Saturdays. But if there's anything urgent, I can share my WhatsApp number with you guys, and you can text me there if there's like any specific question, or if there's anything urgent and I'm not there, you can always ask Izada and she will like let me know that there is like something on Slack that I need to check. Yeah, so which one do you guys prefer? Do you want me to share my personal number with you?
Yes, please.
Okay, 1 second. So I'm not gonna share it in the Slack channel. I'll just send it here for you guys, okay?
Still, I have question. When Marat will come?
To your classes.
He from Monday or?
Let's see. Is he scheduled anywhere?
No, I mean,
Yeah, I don't see that he is scheduled for any specific class, but I can ask Izada if Marat is planning to come over for any of the classes.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll ask Izada and I'll ask her to also make a PSA in your Slack channel. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see you then.
Yes. Do you guys have any other questions?
No.
All good?
Oh,
Okay.
good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. As always, it's a huge pleasure to see you guys. And I see that you're making progress in solving those algorithm questions, which is really good. Good job, guys. I'm so happy to see your commitment to this learning process. Keep up the good work. And I hope that you guys have a great week ahead of you. Yeah, I will see you next Saturday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
weekend.
you.
Have a nice weekend.
You too. You too. Thank you guys for joining.